Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing more, girl, you make my heart beat.
And we are back.
Welcome back, you beautiful creatures.
I said welcome back, family, because I'm supposed to be changing that up. But I've already welcome back, so we're just going to go with it.
Okay.
Today is Friday content. We are going to be doing an article from medium.com. We pull articles off this website quite a bit to just discuss it as we read things. We tend to read the same author quite a bit because she's an actual PhD and she makes sense. We enjoy the articles, so we read them. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of housekeeping. I have a book dropping on August 15th that's called You Are Not Broken. The book is designed, written in a way that is supposed to help people. My goal is to help people get past hardships, heartbreak, divorce, breakups, loss of parents in terms of, going no contact or best friends, whatever the case may be. I've released an early release to people. If you buy a signed copy, you get a PDF ahead of time. And the people who have already got the PDF through our Patreon and Discord community have given me raving feedback saying that the book is absolutely incredible. So that goes live on August 15th. If you would like to buy a signed copy on a pre-order, you'll get the PDF ahead of time and you can read the book before it comes out. This will release in July. So we have Greece in May of 2026. As of now, we're recording this in the beginning of May. There are still slots available for that trip. I think there's like 12 or 13 slots left. If you want to travel with us internationally, that's going to be the trip to do because we may not do another one next year. As of right now, there's nothing else planned for next year other than May of 2026 for Greece. If that trip completely sells out, then we can look into doing a trip for later in the year. But right now, that's all we've got planned. We also have a couples retreat in August. I think that by the time this drops, I'm sure that'll be sold out. But you guys, if you want to do domestic couples retreats and would like to come and spend a weekend with us in a house, a big ass house with other couples and like doing the full gambit of relationship stuff, I highly recommend that you just go to our website, tobebetter.com. Click on through the resort stuff and the retreat things and look to see what meets your schedule and needs. And hopefully we've got something laid out for you guys. You sure there's nothing you want to get into before we jump into the article?
Nope.
Okay. This one's called How Trauma Can Fuel a All or Nothing Thinking. All right, guys, as you know, there was a TikTok scare. We lost the app for a whole 12 hours and we have no idea what the future of the app looks like. And with that, we are very concerned about the loss of our following. We have amassed almost 3 million followers across that platform with all 4 of our accounts. And we are trying to push people to other social media platforms so that in the event that anything happens on one app, we have multiple other backup plans. If you want to make sure that you're not missing any content, we highly recommend that you check out our Patreon.
On Patreon, we have multiple tiers to choose from. Starting at $10, you begin to receive exclusive content. At $15 a month, you get access to our private Discord server where we've amassed an absolutely amazing community of supportive people. And beyond that, we have other tiers to check out, along with my 2 private women's group, if that's something you may be interested in.
Guys, on our $15 and higher tier, you have access to live recordings. We record all of our content 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, live in front of our Patreon audience, where they are able to chat with us while we're recording. They get to see all the flirting, the outtakes, the hot topic conversations that never actually make it on the podcast. And it's really worth that aspect in itself. We have an After Dark where we sit down usually once a week and have a glass of bourbon, or in Peach's case, a glass of wine and a bowl of cheese. And we have a whole lot of fun conversations, karaoke in the Discord. We finish the lyrics. We literally just hang out and you guys get to hang out with us. There is a host of other perks, including Zoom calls that are coming for the ultimate tier. So that if you guys are having problems, you can talk to us. It also gives you the heads up on private meet and greets, because when we travel, we try to meet up with people on our Discord on a regular basis. There's a whole slew of other perks that come through Patreon. I highly recommend that you check it out.
The best way to support what we are doing is to share the content. The second best way is to check out our Patreon. Thank you guys for being here. Trigger warning, the following content includes personal experiences and discussions around difficult topics such as trauma, emotional challenges, childhood maltreatment, or abusive relationships. While my intent is to educate and share personal insights, some readers may find certain content emotionally distressing. This article is for informational purposes only. If you are familiar with my writing, then you know that most of my articles talk about the associations between traumatic childhood environments and the impact of narcissistic caregivers on our sense of self-worth. and our overall ability to function in our adult lives. The reality is that many of us have learned to downplay or dismiss the significance of these kinds of early experiences because A, unpacking the past can be painful and something we are ill prepared to deal with, and B, we may end up knee-deep in denial and think that we're fine and that the past is best left in the past. Her saying unpacking the past can be painful and something we are ill prepared to deal with, the amount of people that we have heard within our own lives saying, yeah, that sounds like a really dope experience, or I would love to do that, I just don't want to face my trauma, are continuing to live in the cycles of being triggered and feeling worthless because they are too scared or it hurts too much to face the things that happened 15, 20, some cases 30 years ago.
Yep. And it's crazy because we've heard that both through about therapy and ayahuasca ceremonies.
Yeah.
You're not going to heal if you don't fucking let it go. And unpacking it is letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull everything back out and then put it back together neatly. Like all I can think of is like a gym bag with all of your shit stuffed in it, where 3 people had to like help hold it closed to zip it. But when you take it apart and like you fold all your shit and you stack it in there nicely, there's lots of room still and you can put extra shit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what the saying is, but my mind is rephrasing it, I suppose, to you can't fix what you won't acknowledge is damaged.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at that.
Yeah. You're not going to ignore the broken window in your house because bugs are going to get in. People can get in. The environment, rain, snow, whatever.
Your AC will get out.
Yeah. And it's going to either run up your bill, cause a financial strain, or it's going to cause even more damage to the place that's supposed to give you shelter. So why not patch up the shelter that's your human body?
Yep. Do the work, guys.
It's not always easy facing the uncomfortable truths of what we lived through or how our earliest experiences have shaped how we see ourselves and what we believe to be true about the people in our lives. This can be an especially hard pill to swallow. When facing the reality of all or nothing thinking and how these kinds of cognitive distortions typically develop, it pushes us out of denial and forces us to accept that what we have experienced was not just normal childhood discontent. For anyone living in a pattern of all or nothing thinking, it becomes the lens through which we observe the world and how we assess ourselves. We're either winning or losing, loved or hated, good enough or a failure. There is no middle ground, no room for human imperfection, no shades of gray. We don't wake up one day and suddenly start thinking in extremes. It happens subtly over time and something that is molded, conditioned, and learned. A hard truth is that relatively healthy environments are not teaching the world in absolutes. As with most things toxic, all or nothing thinking develops from chaotic and unpredictable environments as part of survival.
I do that.
You do?
I am an all or nothing guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like my all or nothing is to an extreme. Like if I'm going, I'm going. I'm fucking going.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, there's nothing that's going to change that. And that could be business. It could be relationships. It could be friendships.
Mm-hmm.
It could be me trying to pursue a new hobby. Like, the podcast, when we started all this, we really should have bought like cheap, nothingness just to see if there was an interest in maxed out credit cards. Like,
it happens in disruptions as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm working on it though. I think I've gotten better about it. I mean, obviously I'm biased because I know how my brain is. Like I don't feel it's to the same extremes, but that's a hard role to break, especially when it's 44 years of behavioral patterns. My lived experiences is you always do what you've always done. You always get what you've always got. And that's what I've always done. And that's why the outcomes of all of my shit has been shit.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to break that is rough.
It is. Continuing, as anyone who understands the implications of all or nothing thinking, the reason it's based on survival is because it helps you navigate toxicity, fears of the unknown, and unpredictability much easier. If you grew up being taught love as conditional, you learned that you were either perfect or horrible. You learned that you were praised for making your caregivers proud or harshly shamed for making a mistake. In your adult life, it becomes easier to flip a switch and arbitrarily change your feelings or opinions on a friend or a partner instead of sitting with the discomfort or rumination and wondering if they actually care about you or are they going to abandon you. In essence, all or nothing thinking gives you a momentary edge in having the final say or in being the first one to abandon a relationship before risking being abandoned.
A lot.
Yeah.
In essence, I'm just going to read it again because that was a lot. In essence, all or nothing thinks you gives you a momentary edge in having the final say. I think she should have perioded that. I don't think there should have been a comment. That's a full stop. In essence, all or nothing thinking gives you a momentary edge in having the final say. That's taking control in a situation where you feel helpless or have no control. Or in being the first one to abandon a relationship before risking being abandoned. A lot.
Yeah. When dealing with conflict or fears of being seen for who you are, it becomes easier to again flip that switch and project your insecurities and self-hatred back onto the other person and to paint them all bad in an attempt to save face. The irony is that they may have been the same person you idolized last week or for the last year until your fears and insecurities took center stage and triggered your survival instincts. When dealing with conflict or fears of being seen for who you are, it becomes easier to again flip that switch and project your insecurities and self-hatred back onto the other person and to paint them as all bad in an attempt to save face. In past lives, I don't allow these people in my life anymore. People who I'm talking about know who they are, but also future people. Anybody who has characteristics of the people that I no longer associate with are not even going to have the opportunity to be in my circle. And some of the things that I attribute when I read that, I think about people who need to go and tell their narrative first to get ahead of whatever happened. So say you guys had an argument on the phone, they hang up and now they're calling 4 other people. They even had time to sit and process what just happened. They just know, oh, I said some shit and it may make me look like a bad guy. So I need to make sure everybody hears my version first.
Right. Well, they do that because they know that once that first version is out there, whether it's lie or fact, it is so much harder to come back. Right. Because the first story is the one that matters. Anything beyond that, people don't care. Mm-hmm. It's the hot tea of the moment. Right. There was something that came across my Facebook feed yesterday or the day before that said, why is it that you're so quick to believe a lie the first time you hear it, but need proof for the truth? Like, it's just wild to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you speaking on that, protecting your circle and your peace and making sure that you have, sorry about the weird cut, guys. I had a phone call. I thought it was our lawyer. Protecting your peace and your circle. I'm real big on that shit right now. The last ceremony that we went through, like I got to see how much we get to choose our people. And that's why I made a TikTok yesterday, because I was talking to Jeff Graham while getting tattooed about like the people that we choose to have in our lives. And like, I'm honored to call Jeff my friend. Like, he's a good fucking dude. Yeah. Like when I think of like a good man, Jeff fits that mold. He's a hard worker. Mm-hmm. He's very, very devoted to his wife. Like, will go to war and burn the planet down for her. Is a father to 5 children that are his and one that's not, that's extremely autistic, that he's just adopted as his own son. Mm-hmm. Like, he's doing everything that a good man is supposed to do. And for me to be able to have him in my life and to be able to call him a friend means a lot to me. Like I told him, it's just a badge of honor, because there's so many other people that we've come across over the last 10 years that are not that. Not even close to that. Yeah. And like, I've let a lot of those people come sit at my table and I've been burned because of it. Mm-hmm. So that protecting your space is fucking huge for me right now. Yeah. I sent out, I don't know if I told you this, I sent out a bunch of messages after ceremony. Like I sent out, because of all the forgiveness I had, the only person I didn't message was my mom, my biological. But I messaged a whole lot of people and was like, hey, I'm thinking about you right now. I just want to let you know that I love you and I hope that you're doing great in life and blah, blah, blah. And like, that ugliness in me is gone. Yeah. That animosity and the vindictive, not vindictive, because I'm not a vindictive person, but that the need to spit when their name comes up.
Well, now I'm curious who you messaged. You don't have to tell me now.
Okay. Yeah, because that's just more work for Carrie. We can get into it, but all right.
All or nothing thinking does not allow room for nuances, imperfections, or ambiguity. You either need to be the best or you're a failure. This mindset shapes everything in your life, from how you look to how you feel to how your relationships play out. This mindset also becomes your invisible rule book that you carry with you, silently influencing how you show up for friends, for your partner, family, and your job.
And how you show up for yourself. Mm-hmm. It really does. That all or nothing mindset with the way that you look. Like when I was powerlifting and doing bodybuilding, like my dieting and shit became
an obsession,
psychotic. Like there's no other way to word that. I locked myself in a room on Thanksgiving one year so that I wasn't tempted to eat shitty food because there was shitty food in the kitchen while I was dieting. Like it became like a full on psychosis. And it was an all or nothing thing. And the moment that I broke diet and like I was done with that, like I got fat again. And it happened within like 3 months. I went from 200 pounds to like 260 again. It's not healthy to do that shit, but it does create a whole lot of other issues in life.
Yeah.
This article is a lot for me.
I believe it.
I will say that I said earlier that my all or nothing is going away, and I know that it's going away because of the how I look. I haven't shaved my face. My head, I need a haircut. I need a haircut.
Yeah.
I didn't wear my hat today. I don't care. I'm wearing the same pants for 2 weeks now. I've taken them off to wash them and put on other pants that are similar material because I love the fabric. I'm wearing Crocs. Like I don't give a shit about that anymore. Like my comfort matters more to me than my outwardly appearance. I don't know.
That all or nothing mindset was a really big thing for me as well, especially when I was in the thick of my borderline. And that actually played out during one of our first disruptions when I hit you with, and why are you even with me? My mind really associated hard conversations and arguments as the end of a relationship.
Yeah, that's the abandonment thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that in a long time, but that was a big thing for me too when I was younger. I don't like that. And we had a whole thing over that. But there's like, that's one of those things that had I not, at that point, you had not been diagnosed borderline, but had I not suspected that you had borderline and you would have said that, I would have taken it as a form of manipulation. But I already thought, like at that point, I had my suspicions that you were just as fucked up as I was. And, I put a stop to it. You've never done it to me again. So, and I don't think that people do it in a means to manipulate. I think when they're doing it, it's genuine. But I also think that they've probably done that in the past and it's worked out in their benefit, because when you behave that way, if you got the desired outcome and in that situation of fight stopping or to be fawned over because you need that repair, once your brain goes, hey, this worked, it goes back to that.
Yeah.
It's no different than people threatening to eliminate themselves. Once they know they can manipulate that, it's a go-to. And when that no longer works, they have to find a different means. And if they don't have the communication skills necessary to articulate their wants and needs in a way that can smooth things out, they'll always go to an extreme to get it to stop quickly. If that makes sense.
It does. It is also this mindset that keeps you stuck where it becomes impossible to believe that someone can love you and still need time to themselves, that they may want a relationship with you and still ask for space, or that someone can say no and establish a boundary and still care about you. That's such that boundary setting one. People are so soft nowadays that anybody setting a boundary feels like confrontation to them.
Right. Or they're labeled controlling.
Right.
Yeah. People have gotten very used to the people in their lives to being pushovers.
Caving into them.
Right.
I tell the kids all the time, you are the center of your universe, but you're not the only one.
Yeah. Everyone has a universe within them.
Right.
Is my thought process on that. Everyone is the center of their own universe. Anybody who tells you otherwise is full of shit. Because your self-preservation means more than the preservation of the person next to you. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in us to stay alive and to procreate.
These types of nuances require discernment for developing shades of gray where a person can hold more than one perception at a time without losing their positive feeling about the other person.
That's a hard one. It's worth it, though. To be able to have conflict and be like, look, I still love you. I just don't like the situation. It's hard. It was a hard one for me.
Continuing, when you live with the mental equivalent of an off switch, your self-worth hangs dangerously in the balance. You are constantly feeling just one misstep away from having your value pulled out from under you, where someone's feedback or constructive criticism can shatter any confidence you had for yourself. Relationships are experienced as walking on a tightrope where any comment from a friend, boss, family member, or partner is not only analyzed, it is dissected and played over and over in your mind, where you question their intent and mentally start pushing them away out of self-preservation. This dynamic has negative implications on your job. How are you supposed to learn, grow, and evolve if you're too scared to accept constructive feedback without believing there must be something wrong with you? It also affects your ability to be fully present in your personal relationships. How can you show up for yourself and others without the constant nagging fear of having to be seen as perfect or you must be garbage?
That constructive feedback is rough for a lot of people, even people without trauma. You look at people who are trying to do something new. People will not do something purely out of the fear of failing at it. Because in our head, we want to be a good musician or a poet or whatever it is that we admire in other people. And we're like, we can do that. But we never actually try, because when we try, we know that we can't. And we don't want to fail at it. So it's better to have that belief that we can do it than to attempt and prove that we're not to that standard.
Yeah.
The reality is, though, is you will never get to that standard if you don't make a whole lot of mistakes and suck at it for a really long time before getting there. Even musical savants that have a leg up at an early childhood that can play music, unless they're like, crazy savant, they're not going to just start off good. And even then, when you look at what they can do as an adult versus what they were able to do as a child, like, it's still not the same thing. Those people who are savants look back at their childhood and go, man, I really sucked compared to what I can do now, because you've had a lifetime to practice at it and do the thing. So for you guys who are having a hard time with constructive criticism, criticism without love is cruelty. So if somebody that cares about you is giving you criticism, hey, you should try this, or hey, maybe do that, they're trying to make you better. And it does come from a place of love. They're not trying to break you down. And when you understand that, you are able to take the advice of other people and implement it a little bit differently. But that's a big one. That's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah. All or nothing thinking often hides in the shadows of the judgments you make about yourself or others when no one is looking. The hair trigger flip from all to nothing seems natural, almost necessary. These patterns don't announce themselves. Instead, they slip into your choices, your relationships, and your sense of identity in ways that feel normal. The fear of being invisible. One of the biggest reasons you may develop all or nothing thinking is due to a history of feeling irrelevant or invisible. Maybe you had to vie for attention over your siblings and become the perfect student or the funny guy as a way to stand out and gain attention. If your environment was chaotic or unpredictable, or if attention and validation were inconsistent, feeling visible and wanted can become an obsession. It is no longer about seeing if others are paying attention to you, but a desperate attempt in showing that your existence matters.
This also speaks to the people who have self-sabotaged their own relationships. You get people who are unable to communicate and then blow their fucking world up and then play the victim.
Yeah.
And that's how I see that. When you develop that all or nothing, it's because you felt irrelevant or invisible, or you had to vie for attention. That's all of that would play into that for me. I'm just trying to add shit as I'm thinking about it while you're reading.
I mean, it works. There is this overarching need to feel certain that others are constantly showing up for you, certain that you're safe, certain that the rug is not going to be pulled out from under your feet if you say something wrong, leaving you once again feeling insignificant or invisible. Or if someone does not show up for you exactly as you expect, if they cancel plans or show up late, or are distracted when they are with you, the switch gets flipped. Now everything is painted all bad, leaving you feeling disappointed and abandoned. The reality is that anything you interpret as less than perfect is seen as unacceptable or broken. It's not about what actually happened. After all, you should not expect everyone in your life to be flawless, on time, every time, or to hand you their unadulterated attention. It's more about how you interpreted their actions and impulsively made a split-second decision. It is these expectations that everyone in your life will come through as perfect that operate as self-protective. By going into a situation with the underlying belief that you're going to be disappointed or let down, you're preparing yourself for the inevitable letdown. When all or nothing thinking is in place, the people in your life are held to unrealistic expectations, including yourself, where you internalize their human imperfections as being the rationale for splitting them as damaged or no longer wanted, and thus protecting yourself from further pain.
The people in your life are held to unrealistic expectations, including yourself, where you internalize their human imperfections as being a rationale for splitting them as damaged or no longer wanted, thus protecting yourself from further pain. The including yourself is a big one. We've said this on another podcast. There's absolutely nothing that anybody is going to ever say about me that I haven't already said about myself.
Right.
We for the most part, we are our own worst critics. We are harder on us than anyone else ever will be. The only difference is we've become so accustomed to talking shit to ourselves that it doesn't hurt us the way that it does when it comes from other people, especially if we care about them.
Right.
But that, I also think that the more you look down on yourself, the more you are giving permission for others to look down on you as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. They love me not. When you live with all or nothing thinking, it is not something that can be easily turned off or changed. It ends up controlling your life, your thoughts, and your beliefs. At any given moment, you may feel deeply loved by your family, friends, or your partner, and in the blink of an eye, you can feel the sting of rejection. The fact is that they may not be doing anything out of the ordinary. They may have sent a quick text, "I'm busy, I'll call you later," but it triggers all of your insecurities. Most people won't understand how something as menial as a text message can send you into a tailspin, or how a delayed response from someone you love can hijack your nervous system. Instead of taking the text at face value, you began ruminating on the other times people may have sent you a similar text. Or you fixate on the last time someone took too long to respond while making assumptions about their behavior. Suffice to say, miscommunication and assumptions are two of the biggest reasons relationship issues surface. Yet the people in your life may not be behaving any differently towards you. It boils down to your interpretation and perception of their behavior that leads to flipping that switch and painting them all bad.
I also think that in that same breath, the text message aspect of it is part of the problem.
Elaborate.
Well, if you're having a rough moment and I'm like, hey, I'm busy right now, I'll call you back. Or I'm busy, give me 15 minutes or whatever I say. And you're already having a bad day and you need me, you're going to take that cold text message as I'm not there for you. Mm. But if you were to call and you were like, hey, are you busy? And I'm like, I'm with my boss right now, I'll call you back in 15 minutes. Or worst case scenario, I silence the call and then text you. I wouldn't do that. It wouldn't matter if I was sitting with my boss or my pastor or Jesus. If the phone rings, my wife's calling me, you're going to have to fucking wait a minute. What's up, babe? I'm with somebody right now. I'll call you back. Right? Like I'm answering the phone call. Mm-hmm. Because in the grand scheme of things, if you're in an emergency, is there anything that I can do to stop the emergency? No, there's not. In reality, if there was a really bad emergency, 911 is who you should be calling, but I should be the next phone call that's made so that I can get to wherever you're being taken. Or if there's a fucking pipe burst at the house, where's the off switch? Like if I don't answer that phone and I call you back 15 minutes later and we've dumped 2,000 gallons of water, like that's a huge ass water bill. Like there's a whole lot of this takes priority over this interview or this meeting or whatever the case may be. And I know that you may be married, may not be married, but my wife is important to me. So fucking wait a minute. But that's the difference between the text message. If you sent a text message and I hit you with a cold reply while you were going through something or you really fucking needed me, you're going to go through that. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to get message after message after message after message. When a phone call would have been the way to go because you would have heard tone. I would have been able to hear your tone. Could have been just real quick. Where's the water off switch? Call me back in 15 minutes. I'm turning the water off. Right? Like, I don't know. I think that people who have all or nothing, obviously they already deal with their self-worth issues according to this article. So in a situation where they are with somebody that they view as their, I don't want to say superior, but I guess that's the word, because if you feel inferior to them, whether they're your boss, somebody that you admire or look up to, maybe you're meeting a musician of some sort or whatever, we have this expectation of these people being bigger than us. Mm-hmm. So we want to try to make the best fucking impression. But I'm willing to bet that those people would take the phone call from their person if it rang. Like there's a time and place. Like there are a time when you can't. Like if you're a surgeon and you're in surgery and your phone's ringing, it's in a locker. Like there's not a place for that. Courtroom, same thing. But if you're just an average Joe who's living your life, your family should take a priority over your job. It should take it over your fucking boss's opinion. Mm-hmm. I would be impressed by that as a business owner or somebody that is in the position that we're in. If somebody was meeting us and their wife called or their husband called and they took the call and was like, hang on a minute, and took their call, I'd be like, good on you for that. Like we're just people. Yeah. Your wife will be here or your husband will be here until the end of your days. Hopefully prioritize that motherfucker. Like, I would respect that. I would respect it a whole lot more than being like, oh, it's just my wife and put it in your pocket. Right. You better answer that phone, bro. Like I'm rambling.
I don't think you're rambling. I think you're making a point.
Okay.
Those who have not lived with all or nothing thinking and the weight of carrying it won't understand the emotional toll it can take on a person. They may call you extra or dramatic without comprehending the back and forth war that is going on inside of your head. It's like having an emotional whiplash where you're constantly being pulled from one extreme to the other. More than the overt feelings and exhaustion that will go with all or nothing thinking is how you constantly doubt yourself. You'll learn not to trust things as they are, but to always look for agendas and the other shoe to drop. You develop an internal dialogue where you ruminate on what a person said, what they did, or how they came across to you. You shame yourself into wrongly believing you said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, or somehow upset the other person. Then you convince yourself that they are going to leave you or no longer want you in their life, so you flip the script and paint them all bad.
That first part of that paragraph. Mm-hmm. They may call you extra or dramatic without comprehending the back and forth and the war that's going on in your head. This comes down to knowing your person. Excuse me. If you have enough conversations with your person, you truly understand the way they think. You know if they're being dramatic or if they're really struggling. And if you don't, and you think that they're just being dramatic all the time and you are that disconnected with your partner, you never really connected to them. Like, it's not hard to read a room.
Right.
It's really not. And people, I know that people are like, well, they're, like I said, they're just being dramatic. If you really think that your person is just a dramatic person, do you really know your person? Have you ever stopped to be like, hey, why do you do that? What do you mean, why do I do that? Well, I've noticed that, when we have these kind of situations, your go-to response is this. Why do you do that? I'm sure that they'll be like, what do you mean, why do I do that? And they might get defensive and become dramatic all over again. But if you're like, look, I love you. I'm not mad about it. I'm just trying to understand why you do these things so that I can understand you better. You'll get to the point where you don't have to have conflict. Those situations will come up and like apologies can happen before there's even a conversation about it. I think that people stopped paying attention to their person and started paying too much attention to their phone.
I agree with that statement. I despise technology.
I know you do.
It sucks to be in a room with one person or more people and everyone's just on their phone.
It's because they're looking for stimuli that they're not getting from their friends or their social settings. Right. Well, yeah, it's stimuli. They're looking for that dopamine hit. If you go to a party and everybody's having a great time, nobody's on their phone. But the moment that the stimuli of the party either becomes too much or is no longer keeping them entertained, the phones come out. Unless they're trying to look something up. Like, there's obviously caveats to that, but you see people at restaurants. When we go out to eat, I don't scroll my phone. I pick my phone up when I like have something I need to look up, or if I'm trying to like, oh shit, I was supposed to message this person about money or whatever, like that'll take precedence. But for the most part, I don't fuck with my phone when we're out eating or when we're out in general, unless it's necessary work shit. Like, I don't doom scroll when we're in public. I don't doom scroll when we're out on dates. I just don't think that I'm trying to be very in the moment with things. And a lot of the times, like I've gotten to the point where I've been forgetting to do shit because I'm like, I'll just do it later because I don't want to lose the moment. Right. And that came from ceremony, but
yeah,
I didn't even take my phone with us the last couple of times we went for a walk. I've just left it at the house. I'm not going to do much while walking the dogs, but like if I can't go 15 minutes and remember to post a TikTok or something, then I have a bigger problem with my brain than I think. You know what I mean? I've also noticed that I'm not engaging with people as much because my phone's not with me constantly, or I'm not constantly on it. Like I'm trying to still maintain relationships, but trying to do it with a way that is not bullshit, like videos and memes and like, because it's not a real connection.
I agree.
It's pebbling is what they call that, where you're sending people things to just keep a connection going, but it's superficial. It's not.
Yeah, you sent me this really cool meme, but you didn't tell me your grandmother died last weekend.
Right. Yeah.
I want beyond surface level communication.
I want people to care about me the way that I care about them.
That's something I'm having a hard time with right now.
Why is that?
Because I opened up to somebody and they left me on red.
Yeah, I would have reached back out. I would have, because you have no idea what they were going through at the moment. You know what I mean? Like I'm somebody that opens messages a lot and don't get back to them. I mean, you do it too.
No, I don't open messages unless I'm ready to respond to it.
Really? I open mine and I'll get back to it. Like if it's something that I need to see or I think I need to see it, I'll open it right away. But there have been messages that have sat that I don't reply to for a couple of days because I'll forget. But you never know what somebody's going through in their personal lives. If you really needed to talk to somebody and they left you on red, I would ask them like, hey, was that intentional? Like I really needed you. You kind of dropped the ball. I would give them the opportunity to at least explain themselves. They don't owe you an explanation, but I would like to know. Like they wouldn't owe me an explanation, but I would at least like to hear what they have to say as to why they left me on red. I get it though. I fucking get it, because we're the type of people that when people need us, we stop what we're doing. But I also understand that that's not everybody. And there's also a hierarchy. You know what I mean? Like if you and I are dealing with something and somebody else that I cared about reached out and needed me, if you and I are the priority in the moment, they're not getting that from me. Like I have, my priority is us first and then everything else second. So it's a lot to think about.
It is. The worst part is, you know it's happening, but once the pattern is kicked into gear, it's difficult to stop. Instead, you may find yourself compulsively over apologizing or shutting down and testing them to see if they will ask you what's wrong. I'm not that person. I'm going to ask you one time what's going on. I fibbed. I'll ask you 3 times. It's not going to be back to back. But I'll ask you 3 times. And on that 3rd time, it's going to be, look, this is going to be the last time I ask you.
Yeah.
This is your last opportunity to have this conversation, or I'm moving on. And if you try to broach this conversation again, it's not going to be with me.
So what's the answer to that?
If they're not ready to talk about it, just say I'm processing a lot right now. And when I'm ready to talk to it, I'll come find you.
See, that's the difference between you having to pry something out of somebody and somebody acknowledging that there's actually something going on. Mm-hmm. And like, I've gotten a lot of hate because I'm not doing that. If I've asked you a couple of times what's going on and you try to bring it up later, no, fuck that. We tried to talk about it and you shut that shit down.
Right.
You lied to me. It's the way that I view that. You are going through something. I knew you were going through something. I could see it. I could physically feel it because the energy in the fucking room is off and you told me nothing. Mm-hmm. So you lied to me. But what you just said is the right answer. I'm processing. I am absolutely bothered by some things right now. And until I can get to the root and have the honest conversation of what's going on, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, cool. Are you leaving? No, you're not leaving me? All right, dope. We'll talk about it when we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Like let's try to at least live a normal life while you're processing your shit. Mm-hmm. And that's the other end of that. The people who will be like nothing will change their behavior in the home or with their partner.
And slamming cabinets and huffing and puffing and one-word responses.
Because you should know better. If you're processing, guys, if you're going to use that line, I'm processing and I'll get back to you, you need to quell all of the angst inside of you and live a normal life while you're processing and then have a calm conversation afterwards. And sometimes that shit's not going to be easy, but it's necessary.
When I have to tell you that I'm processing right now, and I'll tell you when I'm ready, I'm not peppy. I'm not dancing around the house and singing, but I'm also not ignoring you.
Right.
I'm not giving you the cold shoulder. I am not taking what I'm going through out on you. I'm still asking you if there's anything you need, giving you forehead kisses, trying my best to flirt with you when I'm going through it.
Yeah. There's a difference between, like you said, being peppy and being miserable. You can be going through something and not portray miserability, like, because you're making the environment that you live in uncomfortable for fucking everyone at that point. You can be going through something and try to be as civil as possible until you can figure out what's going on and then come to resolution. There's going to be times, though, for those of you who use that line, there's going to be times where it's going to be uncomfortable and there's nothing you can do about it, especially if you know it was something you did.
Yeah. And
most of the time, if it was something you did, you have an idea of what it was. Like you kind of already know, and you're just waiting for their side of the story when you can be like, hey, was it this?
Yeah.
You fucking know what you did, especially if you know your person, you know?
While it sounds manipulative, it's not. It's a cry for help and a cry for peace. It's a desperation to be truly seen and truly loved without judgment, and without having to explain how you are hardwired or why. Healing from a history of all or nothing thinking is not just a simple mindset hack or a quick fix. One of the hardest parts about your growth will probably be learning how to fight the urge to turn your progress into being about all or nothing. It's not about either being perfect at growth or failing. It's about understanding and respecting the journey and taking notes as you go. If you have learned to look at the world and the people in your life in absolutes, it will take time to unwrap how this started, when it started, and why. You will need to learn self-compassion and to find healthier and more realistic shades of gray when it comes to navigating how you see yourself and others. It's not about suddenly allowing yourself to be imperfect, but it's continuing to show up for yourself, even if you're scared and imperfect. It's not about walking away from someone to prevent them from possibly hurting you, but choosing to stay with them knowing that no one is perfect and even healthy partners may inadvertently hurt each other. About practicing to sit with your fears, even if your first instinct is to run and try and prevent the fears that scare you the most.
That line, no one is perfect and even healthy partners may inadvertently hurt each other, that happens. It happens with us. I am not as articulate as I like to believe I am. And sometimes in my quick, like flying off the handle thinking, I cuss a lot, or I'll say some shit that made total sense to me, but made no sense to you and it offended you, right? Like this shit's going to happen. I'm like, that's not what I meant. Like that's just the way that I talk sometimes. And that's, that's something that I know that I need to work on. I said something about something being stupid and you were like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like, I know that was a really bad term and it's not like the way that it was worded was not the way that I meant it, but it made sense to me in the moment, which is why I said it the way that I had said it. And we had a whole ass conversation about it. But once that's out and it makes you feel a certain way, or you say something that makes me feel a certain way, once that feeling is there, that feeling is there. And even if it is a total misunderstanding, once feelings are hurt, feelings are hurt. It takes time for that stung to go away, right? Like pain never just stops instantly. And I think it's the same thing with emotional pain. And I think having a little bit of grace with your person goes a long way, especially in those situations. If your person is a malicious individual and that's the way that they always are, that's a very different conversation than the people who are inadvertently hurting each other.
I agree.
And that's where grace comes in. Because I can have grace and forgiveness with people who do things boneheadedly, right? Like you're not all there in the moment thinking you maybe didn't piece your sentence together in a way that works, or, you went to the store and forgot to grab me a Snickers bar or whatever the case may be. Like sometimes life is just busy. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to go to the store and you're like, can you get me a drink? I'm like, no. And I go to the store and get my drink and come home. And you're like, what the fuck? And you know what I mean? Like that's intentionally being an asshole type shit. And it's very different.
I agree.
I think the all or nothing thing can actually become a superpower as well. You look at every business that I've ever done, anything that I've ever set my mind to doing, it's been, I'm going to fucking do this or die trying. Mm-hmm. And that, and maybe even that aspect comes from a trauma response, because I wasn't always that way. When I was younger, I didn't give a shit about anything. I was fucking lazy. I had no ambition or goals. Like I was just a piece of shit young man.
Yeah.
But knowing that no one's going to do anything for me, and that if I want the life that I want to live, I have to go out and do the things that's going to get me there. It changed that thought process for me. And I've already had nothing. I know what that's like. And if I went back to doing that, though it would suck, I've survived that before. But I don't know what it looks like to be a multi-millionaire. I want to do that now.
Hey guys, little quick interruption. If you're enjoying the content, please leave a like. And also don't forget to comment. We enjoy interacting with you guys and hearing your opinions, and it helps the algorithm.
It's also free to do. And if you really want to help make sure the show continues to do, hit the subscribe button and share the content across your social medias. It costs you nothing and it greatly helps the show.
So in that aspect, like it comes down to how bad do you want something? How much are you willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to get there? And that's that all or nothing shit could be. I mean, I think even ADHD, I think that people who have borderline and have that like obsessive shit, even obsessive compulsive disorder to a degree, can be used as a superpower if you find a way to channel it in a way that makes you successful in whatever success looks like to you. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I agree. That does make sense.
So I pulled up some notes. I make notes for you guys who are not like familiar with the podcast. I make notes for everything because I'm very scatterbrained. One minute I've got a great idea, and the next minute I'm thinking about Fritos with, chili cheese sauce inside of the bag and a spork. It happens.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, one of my notes says, you need to feel what you're going through, especially if it's an extreme emotion: anger, hate, love, compassion. This is where greatness and creativity is stemmed from. This is where people really focus. I've said on the podcast in the past that if you want to see somebody do some really great shit, break their heart. You look at all the greatest comeback stories ever, it's all got heartbreak in it. It's where it starts.
Yeah.
You lose a loved one, you lose a family member, you lost the job that it was your dream job, and now you're coming back harder to fucking open your own business or whatever the case may be. All the great acts of poetry, music, all stems from heartbreak, paintings, all of it. So if you're somebody that has the all or nothing mindset and something makes you angry or it hurts your feelings to that degree, you need to really process that. Figure out why it is that it's hurting you the way that it is, because that is where greatness comes from. And that greatness in that aspect could be this all or nothing comes from the fact that I didn't get attention as a kid. Mm-hmm. And it just never, and this is making this up, but like, it could be that for you. It could be that your parents would lock you in a room so that they could have people over and you weren't a bother to their boyfriend or girlfriend. Could be a whole lot of things that made you realize that you came last in somebody else's life, especially when you were younger. And if you had, like she said, this lady writes a lot about narcissistic caregivers. Mm-hmm. If your parent's a narcissist, you are fucking last, because everything in the world revolves around them. And that's just the way that it's got to be. And you're going to have a whole lot of hardships growing up and a whole lot of things that you got to work through. And if you are able to process your emotions inward and like follow that string all the way back to where that emotion stems from and why you're triggered and why you feel the way that you do, there's your greatness. That's your superpower now. I know that this feeling stems from this instant in my life. And then you can start going, okay, well, where in other instances in my life has that happened? Because at some point along the lines, you've protected yourself enough for that shit to stop. Now you need to implement new things in your life because you know what to look out for to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And then you can start building better relationships with people. Your social circle will change. You know, you could get a raise, get a different job, like a whole lot of things about your life that would be elevated because you're aware.
Yeah.
That's the greatness in that.
Like having a roadmap with all the hazards on it.
Right? Fucking right. You remember when we were driving through Punta Gorda the other day and we saw those railroad crossing things?
Yes.
And the whole GPS screen looked like a hazard X on everything. Like, what the hell is that? And we got close. We realized it was with railroad tracks because we zoomed way out. But that having that roadmap goes a long way. It's a cheat sheet.
It is. It is.
With that being said, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the podcast. We made it for you. And remember, you are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.